Anthony here. Okay, gold. We're going to have another look at this one. Now, I posted the last two of these, I think. Yeah, this one here and this one here. So both of these ideas worked out really well. That was the first one. It was about like 8R if you took that trade with a tight stop, around about 8R. Yeah. And this one here was the Friday weekly close trade, and about 6.5R if you took that with a relatively tight stop. All right, so we're going to have a look and see where to next. I mean, I really like this price action. If we just go to a 1 hour chart, it's trending up nicely at the moment. Be careful though, because Monday can often, look at the pullback into VWAP as I was talking about in the previous video on this, that one there, that first one, the first one that you see. So we've had a deep pullback. See, and what I did mention in that last video was I'm always looking for this 3 drive, 1, 2, 3, and a deep pullback. And the other thing about that was it gets away from VWAP. That's on a 1 hour chart. See how it's trading way up in here? It's about 2 deviations out from VWAP. And what I was talking about in the last video was it'll do that, and generally after 3 or 4 drives like this, it'll go for a deep retrace, and it's going to hunt the liquidity that's resting under here, and that's exactly what it did. So it touched that, and now we're starting to see it move. My bias is bullish. However, how to get involved with that? Kind of missed the boat at the moment because have a look at this. What I'm usually looking for is this trend continuation. Let's just take that out for a sec. A trend continuation. And how to get involved is you get this low to high and the pullback, right? See how, let's just get that VWAP out of there. We don't need that. See how it pulls back. In fact, we could even go to a 30-minute chart. Right? This is important. This is how I trade. So I'm looking for this pullback, and then when you see it start to break structure, all right, and you get this rotation, it's so simple, so simple. But how many people can nail it? That's the question. So you pull back 30-minute chart, and then I'm looking for the break, the higher highs, higher low, and there's an entry, okay, on that break of structure. Now at some stage it's going to turn around and bite you, but generally speaking, when it's trending, you'll get a bit out of it before you get taken out. And here's another opportunity right there. Okay, so it pulls back. It's a value area. See how it's ranging. You got to look at price action wherever it's ranging. It's getting ready to spring out, right? It's building liquidity above and below the range, and that's where big money is generally building their positions. So it builds, it drops down, a bit of a Wyckoff thing. I'm always looking for that, the manipulation. We didn't really get it with this one. It kind of traded sideways and then kept going, but generally you're going to see, well, we've got a little bit of a thing here. I'm always looking for that Wyckoff manipulation where you get this range and then it dips down under. No, you get a bit of a fake out too, and buyers jump in, and then stop losses go under, and then those stops get run, and then that's fuel for big money then to load up. All right, so and I'm always looking at it range. Okay, there's the breakout, break of structure, right? You can look at it that way, BOS. So here we had that. Now here's where it gets. This is what's important for the continuation. I need to see a higher high and a higher low. At the moment, we don't have it. It's not there. Right now, back here would have been a buy opportunity long on that break there. Fair enough. Okay, so that would have been an entry, and now we're up about 2R. Okay, so that could have been the opportunity. I missed it. That's fine. But for me to get involved, it's got to do this. Let me just show you this. This is really important, and it'll make a big difference when it makes its move. Okay, so it's in a bullish trend. We can see that here, right? It needs to give me a higher high, and then the low should be higher. And then it's got to hold at that level. All right, it's got to hold. I don't want to see it break under this low. So we need that higher high, higher low. And it starts to rotate, right? Where's my thing? All right, there it is there. And then we go for it. So that rally, then that's the opportunity there. All right, so that's done. It rallies again. You get another higher high. So now I'm looking for that pullback and break of structure again. All right, so there, okay, is your second opportunity. Now I'm going to get to this current time frame here. This moves higher high, lower low. Okay, a bit dodgy, but this spike, this candle, okay, with this long thin wick, is enough for me to be convinced to get long in here. Got to have that behind it, and because I understand price structure, market structure a bit, that run on liquidity after a bit of a three drive thing, right? Now here, well, that was the opportunity. Okay, that's done and dusted. So where's the next opportunity? I'm not going to follow that. It has to give me another higher high back down, and then I'm looking for that there, that pullback, right? It's got to be a higher high, higher low situation. If it's a lower high, then what can happen with that is it sort of wobbles around and we and it dies. So it's got to give me that higher high. Now at some stage it'll turn around and die on you, but at this point, I mean, look, you've had 1, 2. Let's just say you followed this strategy. Well, there's 3 profitable trades, and you're well and truly with this. You're working this trend. You're up, okay. 1, 2, and maybe this one you took bullish, right? So then you're up. All right, so you can afford to lose one, all right? But, I'm not going to get involved there. No way. So the next port of call has to be the higher high and pull back higher low, and then that break of structure, right? So let's just, look at this price action. Let's just assume, it heads up there. It's got to do that, all right? It has to do that for me to get remotely interested, all right? So it's got to give me a higher high. Something like that, right? So here, let's just, all right, higher high, okay, higher high. You've really got to have a plan, and you got to stick to it. Higher high, wherever that works out. So it's gonna, it'll, if it does, and I mean, it may or may not even trade up there, right? But it's got to do that. Then it's got to come back down, pull back, and then I'm looking for that structural shift then to get involved, as I pointed out back in here. There sort of broke structure there, and then you can get long. Just take that out, done and dusted. That was that Friday pullback. That's a counter trend Friday trade that you can take. I've done videos on that. Anyway, so this is no go given that it's a lower high at the moment. What else can I say about this? Yeah, you've got to have a plan, guys, and this is it. So just keep an eye on. Let's just call that a BOS or a CHOC, change of character if you like, given that it's pretty early. All right, so you've got the same thing here. That's all you got to look for. That's the be all and end all as far as I'm concerned. But you got to have a system that gives you this rotation, and and can really nail this rotation for you. That's all you need. So let's take that out. Yeah. All right. Higher highs and then higher lows. So we're looking for the higher low here. Okay, HL, and same thing. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same thing. Higher low. All right, that's done and dusted. Yeah, higher high, higher low. Yeah? It's really basic. Yeah, but that's not a higher low. Okay. All right. So that's where I shift gears a little bit. It's like, okay, well, what's going on here? 3 drive pattern, the drop back into liquidity. All right, I'm good to go with that. Okay. And that's a Friday trade. So this lower low here, I've got a valid sort of reason why I would continue on with this trade. All right. So look, that's what I need to see. So don't chase it. It's got to clear that previous high and come back. All right. So we need to see, all right, continuation, basically. However, you know what I'm getting at, right? All right, guys. Look, I mean, that's my take on gold. I'd love it if you comment below. That would be awesome. You know, I do try to get back to every comment. And if you've got any thoughts, any ideas, share them. If you've got a screenshot that you'd like to share, throw it in there. Let's talk about it. If we're on the same page, or if we're not on the same page, you know, let me know. That is my take on gold at the moment. And just understand that, you know, that could, yeah, that could do that. All right, so just watch out. That's the risk. Okay, the risk. Okay, it trades lower, south. That'll do. There you go. It trades south. That's a technical term. The risk is, you know, the risk is, comma, it trades south. In fact, what I'd like to do with that is, and you know, we're looking at that sort of fail to break the high, and it wobbles down here somewhere. Okay, it's a very real risk. It's gold. You know, just be careful. The algos are really full on. Like, you know, big money knows exactly what retail is doing, and they set it up. They've got the capital to move this wherever they want it to go. That's the thing. All right, and then they set their algos up to basically just chase liquidity, and they know that everyone's piling in long here. So, you know, just watch out for that. All right, look, I don't want to ramble on. That's my take on gold, guys. And with that, I hope you have a fantastic day, and see you in the next one.